Welcome to the Faith and Family Conversations. My name is Michelle Anthony. We are in a series called Faith, Healthy Habits, and today's topic is on serving. So welcome to the conversation. I'm super passionate about this concept of serving. It's something that's biblical and laid out for us to follow in this manner. Jesus was the greatest servant of them all, and then he asks us to serve one another. So it was something I was really passionate about for my own kids to cultivate that in their heart from a young age and then give them practical opportunities to put that into practice. So serving actually comes from this place where God first gives gifts to us, and then he asks us to use those gifts to serve others. So let's talk a little bit about the biblical foundations of serving.
Yeah, I think you have to look at Ephesians 4, 1 Corinthians 12 here, where he's talking about what he gave to the body for the edification of the body, right? So when we talk about spiritual gifts, we can talk about these graces that God has given for the building up of his bride. And I think serving is that the beautiful ecosystem for the family, where parents can help identify and draw out those gifts that God has placed both in themselves and within their children, both in the church, in your city, in the world, all of those places. I grew up at a big church, a mega church, and one of the biggest questions I get asked, my wife and I get asked, is how did you guys find community at a church with 15,000 people? And the first response I always give is we never found community when we attended this big church, but we found it instantly when we started serving at this big church.
So true.
And that was a priority for us because that's what we saw modeled from our parents. So it's this precious ecosystem that the Lord has given us for the betterment of the bride.
That's so good.
That's good.
When our kids were little, we decided we were just going to take them on mission with us, right? So it was just, whether it was local or abroad, that was going to be something we just did. And it's interesting now to see the fruit of that in their lives and how they have a mind to see what needs to be done. Because when you're talking about spiritual gifts or these graces that were given to us, it's easy for us to go, I don't have the gift of cleaning up or raking the leaves or emptying the dishwasher or, helping a brother in need. But talk a little bit about some of the things that we did with our kids and on mission. A lot of it was international, but.
Yeah, it really was. We brought our children with us to quite a number of different developing countries. And it started very, very young. I know there are people who think, well, maybe when my kids get old enough, I'll take them on a mission trip. Well, how old is old enough? For us, when I taught at a university, one of my required assignments for the Intro to Christian Education class was to go with me as the professor down to the garbage dumps in Tijuana. This is where we lived close to San Diego area in Los Angeles. And then as a family, we would go down to the garbage dumps in Tijuana. These are active dumps. We just back up the trucks and dump stuff out. And the children would sort of scavenge through all these piles of garbage, looking for things to bring home, maybe some baling wire, some forklift pallets to make a wall, some carpeting, some corrugated tin, whatever. And then we would go down there with another organization. And all the women would take the girls over to one side, the men would go over to another side, and they'd set up bathhouses because there's no running water at the garbage dumps. So it's the only time of the month where they would get hot water showers. And I remember with our daughter, Chantel, she was about 6 or 7. And as it was at the end of the day, all the children had been bathed. We would give them new clothes after their bath. And we were just starting to pack it all up and shut it all down when one little girl came up and says, could I have a shower?
Yeah.
And one of the ladies in the group said, I'm so sorry, sweetie. We're all done for the day. We're just packing up now. And my daughter was like, no, she needs to have a shower.
And new clothes.
And new clothes. And she just got this, like she intimidated this lady, saying, okay, set it all back up. So we set it all back up again. And while this little girl was getting her shower, my daughter ran to our car and got her brand new jacket, her brand new coat. And when the girl had come out and got some clothes, gave her her coat. And we're looking at each other like, that's a brand new cup we just bought our daughter.
Yeah.
But my daughter was so
Wow.
struck at such a young, early age to serve.
Yeah.
And we see
to
this now,
sacrifice.
decades later,
Yeah.
we see this as part of the character of who she became, because she had the opportunity to employ a spiritual gift of service at the age of 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I think also it's I love that story. I see that in my children. We serve in kind of a different way. We are a fostering family, so we have children come in and out of our home. We've had one little girl; she's 3. And she is a bundle of joy. She has Down syndrome, so she has some learning disabilities and things that we have been working through as a family. And so it's not just something that my husband and I have to manage ourselves. It is something our children are learning how to manage as well. When when this little one first arrived, we had some real challenges, and my youngest child, who is a whole different child from my first